Okay, so I filmed one story about how uh, people using marijuana impacted me at work. And here's another story about how people using marijuana at work impacted me and other people who worked within our department. So I don't care what you want to call it. Do you want to call it Mary Jane, marijuana, cannabis, weed, pot, grass, dope? My favorite is ganja. Yes, my favorite is ganja. Look, there's Dora's big butt. She's digging. Oh, look, Sasha. Sasha, what you doing in there? So yeah, ganja is my favorite, probably because I usually say Junga, and reader. Reader, I think I like that one too. What you doing, Peter Ann? Where's Annabelle? I don't know where Annabelle went. Oh, there she is. She's just getting some grass. So, this is a story from our Fort McMurray store. So I worked with this young man who, let's say, and he would always take his breaks in his truck. And even when it was super, super cold outside, like minus 24 or 20, minus 20, minus 30, he'd always take his first 15-minute break in his truck. And even subsequent breaks, usually, I think, he would take them in his truck. So one night, I was working with him, and we'll call him Toss. And Toss is about 23 or 24 at the time. And then I was working with another young guy who's probably maybe 17 or 18. And we're going to call this guy Awesome Nice Kid, because he totally was an awesome nice kid. And they both wanted to take their first 15 minutes together, which is unusual, because usually you take your breaks alternately. Like someone takes a 15-minute break, but they come back and then the next person goes. But we were slow that night, and so I said, sure, let's do it. It was early in the evening, so if we needed to get things done, we could still do it, still push together and get it done. So they went out for their 15 minutes break, and they sat in Toss's truck. And I found that very strange. But when they came back, they were stoned. So, yes. And they were giggling, and they were pretty much useless for the rest of the night. So then I began to watch both of them, and I never worked with the awesome young kid again. I worked with him a lot, but he never came in stoned again, or got stoned while he was at work. So that's good news. But the other guy, he was stoned every time I worked with him. And maybe that's what made him such a poor worker. He was slow to make his list of what produce needed to go out on the floor. He's slow to fill his cart. Like, he'd spend forever in the produce cooler. He spent more time walking around and talking to other people in other departments. And the store that I worked in Fort McMurray was pretty busy. So, now the bunnies aren't doing too much, are they? Can you see Sasha? It's just sitting there. So the store that I worked in was really busy. So that, oh, there you go. Hi, Sasha. So that, we always had 3 or 4 people working, usually during the day. So that if somebody wasn't working to their end of the bargain, like wasn't being a good worker, then other people took up the slack. And so the impact didn't hit one person like it would in a slower store. And we talked to our produce manager about this man, and it's difficult to say, I believe he is impaired, is stoned, because you don't smell it on him really. I never smelt any marijuana on him, like you do with alcohol. If somebody comes in after being drunk, you can smell it. Although some people say you can't, you totally do, right, Peter Ann? Oh, where's a little binky? Where's a little binky? But his poor performance should have garnered something. Like this boy, he ended up taking a position in our group as the assistant manager after he'd just been part-time for a very short period of time because nobody else wanted the position as manager. So he took the assistant manager's role, and he took it over from the other drug addict that was working at the store, who actually managed to go home and get help, the help that he needed to be better to save his life kind of thing. And this guy became the assistant manager, and he did a really poor job. And so at the end of that tender, he was reduced back to part-time, and he was very bitter about that. He says he told me that he couldn't make his bills. And so I was under the impression that he didn't understand the concept of it being just a temporary position. But, you know, that's the way it went. But he didn't do anything to improve his performance, to make people want to have him as a full-time employee. So he ended up taking another position in the company in the downtown store, which is a slower store. And it was a full-time position. So he was happy with that. I don't know if he still goes out in his truck during breaks and gets high. I believe he's still with the company. I don't know if he is a better performer. I don't know what his position is at all. But yeah, that is my story about the second time drug abuse within the workforce was not addressed. Not even his poor performance was addressed, and the employees who continue to work hard every day just had to take up the slack. And that was, I think, this company's overall way of dealing with things, that they just expect the people who work hard for them to work harder. And I told many managers that when I work with this person, I work harder, and they just didn't give a shit, or didn't care, pardon me. Right at Sasha. Those people are just got their heads up something. Yeah. All right. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the bunny edition. I did, because it gave me an opportunity to sit out here with my bunnies and see what they're up to. Like and subscribe and share me with a friend, because you know I'd love to meet them. Bye-bye, and I'll see you in the next video.